Good evening. Thank all of you for being here today. Today is February the 1st, 2022. Our thought for today is peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. That's Albert Einstein. I'm going to go ahead and officially call this meeting to order tonight. I'm going to ask if Commissioner Henderson, if you would lead us in our invocation tonight, and Commissioner Cowan, if you would lead us in our pledge tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Everyone bow their heads. Dear Father, once again, we come before Thee with thanksgiving in our hearts, my Father. We understand and realize that You are a good God, one that sits up high and look down low. You know what our needs are before we even know what they are ourselves, and we just thank You. We just ask You to just guide us and lead us in the direction that You would have for Your people. We pray. This we pray. In our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you guys so much. Next, we had adoption of the agenda, please. I seek a motion. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. All in the discussion? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Next is citizens' comments. This opportunity we allow citizens to make comments about agenda topics only. You have 3 minutes to do so. About agenda topics only. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Commissioners, Board Chairman. My name is Susan Jackson. I live at 110 Wisteria Boulevard. I'm coming up here regarding item number 16 on the agenda, and that is the consideration resolution to approve Paladin Wireless proposal for use of ARPA funds to build mixed-use fixed wireless internet network in Newton County. I have sent multiple emails. Thank you all for your patience with my many, many questions. I have come to the conclusion, I've sent an email to Commissioner Sanders, that I would ask the board at this time to table this discussion because as I reviewed some of the requirements regarding the ARPA funds and the funds that will be coming from the state and the federal government to increase our broadband network, what I realized when I'm looking at our 2018 comprehensive plan, we failed to predict any type of expansion in our broadband internet service. And because we are not broadband range, we're not credentialed. We haven't filled the application and that we need to do, and it's not in our comprehensive plan. In order to receive these funds, I was notified by the state, Amy Stone, on today. I will forward you the email. She said it's now required to have that designation in order to get some of these funds. She said she'll point us in the right direction. She said it can be easily fixed by us amending our 2018 comprehension plan just to include the verbiage of that we want to expand broadband coverage, especially in our rural areas. Now, I see that this particular company wants $500,000 to improve. What I asked was each district did receive $1 million. Can we allot some of those funds that District 1 received for the expansion? Because this particular Paladin, they have a 30-year lease with us. And the agreement is that the county would get $7.50 per subscriber. This lease was signed in 2019, and we have yet to, we have not made $1. So this funds, they, of course, like most companies, suffered during COVID. So these funds will help them expand on they've already invested in our county, and the potential for revenue is great. However, I think we should table this to, number one, we amend our comprehension plan to include the verbiage that the state and federal government needs. So when future funds are available, that we can get them readily. And also to the point that Commissioner Edwards says, the larger companies, one moment, the larger companies do not want to invest in rural areas because of the return of the investment. And so if we're able to get certified, we can get these larger, we can get these funds.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else, please? Please state your name, your address for the record, please. Agenda topics only. Agenda topics only.
Yes, my name is Donald Schreiber, 7149 High Lake Terrace. I'm here to speak on behalf of, as a veterinarian, to say that the proposed contract with Planned Pethood, I think, is an awesome idea. It has greatly reduced the stress on me, on local veterinarians, because we do not have to deal with unneutered, unspayed animals. We do not have to deal with the consequences that are related to that. I would greatly appreciate you guys considering this contract. I have personally looked at it. I think it is a great idea. Planned Pethood has been doing a lot of good work for us. I would like for y'all to approve that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Anyone else? Thank you. That portion of our agenda is closed. Citizen comments. Next on the agenda is the chairman's report. I just want to thank the seniors for all that they do. We just celebrated years with them this week, and we were excited. We had a great time over there fellowshipping with them. Miss Teresa and Miss Frida, we thank them for all that they do. We had a great time. Thank the commissioners for coming out supporting them as well. Next, we have the approval of the minutes. Seek a motion, please. It's been motioned by Commissioner. Guys, can y'all need a minute? Yeah. Can y'all step outside as we do this? Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 4-0. Next is the regular agenda. Item number 10, Newton County Animal Services Director Cindy Wiemann is here with us tonight. Cindy, if you could come on up, please. Thank you for being here tonight, Cindy.
Thank you, Commissioners. As many of you know, that for the last several years, we have been working with...
Hold on, Cindy. Guys, y'all need a minute? Go ahead.
Thank you. As many of you know, for the last several years, we've been working closely with Planned Pethood of Georgia to offer the spay-neuter services that are required for any animal that is adopted from any licensed shelter in the state. During this time, our adoptions have increased. In 2018, our adoptions were only 435. This past year was 862. We've almost doubled the number of animals leaving through adoption in the last few years. For the last couple of years, Planned Pethood has provided transport service of the adopted animals to their clinic in Duluth, and then they bring them back sterilized. The problem we've had this last year is we are placing too many animals to actually fit on their transport bus. That's a really good thing, but it still sometimes frequently causes a backlog in our sterilization, which means we have to release animals unsterilized while that we wait for space on the transport bus and space at their clinic. One of the other problems with the transport is a lot of the dogs that we place are large breed dogs, and they have limited holding space. They take up more room in a van. To set up a surgery suite, we've already allocated the funds for the equipment. So what this contract would do would ensure that we would have a veterinarian long-term to utilize the equipment that we've already have in the budget. So I would like for you to approve this contract. Dr. Shriver, who is our veterinarian on record, supports it, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, I seek a motion, please.
So moved as stated by the New Caney Animal Services Director.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Next, the board discussion, consideration of Finance Director, Ms. Brittany White. Brittany, thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening. Tonight before you, I have the 2023 budget calendar for approval. We've already started the budget process, so budget manuals have been distributed to departments. Munis is open for departments to go in and enter their budget. But I would like to draw your attention to the particular dates that the board would be involved in budget meetings. So the beginning would be our budget workshops that will be held pretty much all day from March 29th through March 31st. So those workshops are where your departments and your county appropriations come to present their budgets to the board. Then on April the 5th, we will have a citizens budget workshop from 5 to 6, and that'll be prior to a board meeting, I do believe. And then April 19th, we will have a BOC discussion from 6 to 7. That would also be prior to a board meeting. And then after that is when we will start rolling into our budget adoptions. So we will hold a special called meeting May 24th to present the budget. And then we will start holding public hearings May 31st, and then another one on June 7th with the adoption on June 7th. This is, of course, tentative. Dates could change depending on how the process goes, but this would be the original calendar. Any questions?
Thank you, Brittany. I seek a motion. We're going to get a motion on the floor, and then you can ask your question and discussion. Can I get a motion, please? Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders.
Brittany, is there going to be a time where, I know we have the workshop, but normally during the workshop, and it's kind of what we mentioned previously, there's not a time to where the citizens can make comments during that workshop. Is there, what time is that they can actually come and express their concerns outside of the board meeting?
There's April 5th is a citizen budget workshop.
April 5th, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So at the citizen workshop, would a question be documented so at a later date we can go back and look at them or whatever? We got somebody here to do that.
Can you ask that one more time? I'm sorry.
You know, sometimes like when you have a meeting with the citizens, you have a workshop, you have somebody document the questions.
Like somebody taking minutes and,
Absolutely.
okay. We can definitely do that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you so much. Item number 12, that's you as well, Ms. Brittany.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is Washington Street is requesting additional SPLOST funding. So I'd like to ask Jeff Prine and then B from Washington Street to come up.
Thank you.
But what we're doing is there's currently a SPLOST project that is renovating Washington Street. That SPLOST project budget is roughly $495,000. And they do need additional funds to finish their renovation, which includes kitchen renovations, fixture and furniture, and outdoor classroom and electrical replacement. So the estimated cost of this is $400,000. And if you do approve this, we could fund this from the excess collections from SPLOST, because we are fully collected as of last month. So we do have around a year and a half worth of collections that we will have for excess.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chairman Baines and Commissioners. On behalf of the Washington Street Community Center Board of Directors, we thank you for allowing us to come this evening, and we like to also thank you for the support you've given us down through the years. The Washington Street Community Center has been in operation for over 30 years, and during that time, we've served all segments of the community. Right now, our students come from all areas of the county, and we present a lot of different programs. So I think there's no other program like it in the state, or not many like it in the nation, and I think we've been quite an asset to this community, and we have been good stewards over the resources that we've been given to work with. So we thank you for helping us with that. But our biggest challenge right now is that we are space challenged, and we are in the process of remodeling right now. But in that process, there are some things that, of course, been in an old building. That building was built when I was in school, 1954. Mm-hmm. So it has a lot of the challenges that we need to deal with, plus some other things we'd like to do in the building. So I won't take up much of your time, but Mrs. Louise Adams is also a member of our board, and she wanted to be here this evening to make a comment, but she couldn't because of the death of her husband, as many of you know. But she asked me to read this letter, and it's very short, so if you don't mind, I'd like to read it. It says, "Dear Newton County Board of Commissioners, my love of educating young people in the Newton County school system goes back 62 years when my husband, Timothy K. Adams Sr., and I came to Covington to begin our teaching careers. One of my proudest accomplishments in 1992, with the blessings of the Board of Directors of the Washington Street Community Center, was to start an after-school tutorial program for any child who needed help with homework. This program was under my leadership. Through the years, we've added activities from the Arts Association, Spanish language, leadership programs, nutrition programs, fitness programs, computer programs, instrumental program, music program that was taught by Mr. Adams, and many more programs. She says, I can't think of a better place for the Newton County government to invest an additional $400,000 to help improve the quality of education support for our most vulnerable citizens, the students and their parents at Washington Street Community Center. Thank you very much for your listening and even more for your consideration to help us develop literate citizens. Louise B. Adams, board member of the Washington Street Community Center.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. First of all, it is such a pleasure to work with this group behind us. They're just so easy to work with. They just are willing to work with a little bit and do a lot with it. What happened was when we first started designing this project back last summer, we did a complete analysis, but we had a fixed budget, and we prioritized the work and started down that path when working with you guys when we approved the contract with Sunbelt. But what we've uncovered since we started was the electrical system in that building was not up to code. And it was, matter of fact, it was very dangerous, and I'm very glad that we found it, and now's the time to fix it. But it entails a complete redo of the electrical system from the panel service in throughout the building. So that's part of what we're having to deal with. We also uncovered some additional roof leaks and issues in the building, just over, it's an old building built starting in 54. Really hadn't had a whole lot of major work done in it since the 70s and 80s. So this was an opportunity for us to come in and fix the building and get it weather tight, to add some functionality to it that they need with the outdoor classroom, but most importantly, to make it safe for the staff and for the children that are serving there. And I'd be willing to answer any other technical questions when we get to that point if you needed to.
Thank you.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Commissioners, Mr. Chairman.
Good
It's our
evening.
pleasure to be here to present before you guys this evening, but I'm here with a sense of urgency to talk about our need at Washington Street. As you all know me, I'm always willing to talk about Washington Street and the wonderfulness of that particular facility. It has been my pleasure, as well as those of the board and others on our committee, to work with Jeff. He has been astronomically wonderful. He's listened to all of our concerns and needs, and he's tried to at his best, give us the best. And we want to thank you guys, because none of this would be possible without the support from our county commissioners. Now, what we discovered as we began this project back in November was that the building, although it's old, I mean, it's really old, folks. It once was an old school building that sat up on that hill abandoned and just left as a blight to the community for a number of years until some concerned citizens decided to give it back to the community. They also decided that they wanted it to be an educational facility for kids, a productive place where children can come when school is out. And I like to think that we've lived up to that commitment for our community by serving hundreds and hundreds of kids to go through our doors. Right now, though, and we were so delighted to have been recipients of the SPLOSH. However, our SPLOSH funds had to be used for infrastructural kinds of things. The roof, which you all have been well aware of, for a while has just been a terrible nightmare. We now have an opportunity for that to be, it has now been fixed to the point of it'll last for another 20 years. According to the engineers and the people who've come to inspect and see the building, report that Washington Street has good bones. That's good news. Then it means then that we really can make some major changes to that facility that will last for another 20 years. We are grateful for those people who came before us and before myself to help make all of that possible. But now is the time that we have the opportunity to really build a building that we can all be proud of. It can be that place that you guys are all proud of, that we see as a shining star in our community. We've got some major plans that we'd like to see happen with the expansion and the renovation of that building. We hear a lot of conversation about, well, they're only serving so many kids. Well, we can only serve so many kids if we only have so much space. The facility itself just wouldn't possibly allow for it. But with the new additions, it will help us to be able to create opportunities to serve more kids at different times and do more innovative kinds of programming that's needed for our children here in Newton County. When I think about all the growth that's taking place down in Stanton Springs, then I see it as opportunities, not only for our kids and their future, but for their parents' future. We want to be a part of making those things possible for all citizens here in Newton County. So it's with those things, and we are going to, right now the building is being equipped so that we can have internet service. Everybody in the building at one time on every side of the building. We can have internet services. Our kids can really be about the 21st century learning. We need to have these things done so that we can, in fact, continue to provide the kind of quality programming that also allows us expansion, but in the meantime, it also allows us to help become sufficient for ourselves. It'll allow us to help to create and build our children to be participating members of their community, while at the same time being prepared, as well as helping their parents be prepared. There's no reason why they shouldn't be applying for those jobs down there in Stanton Springs. We shouldn't have to outsource our jobs to people outside of our community when we have an opportunity to help them ourselves. It's our dream that we can collaborate continuously with our local schools, colleges, and institutions to help us so that we can also provide workforce training, work readiness programs. There's a lot that we can do with the building that sits all day, and it's only available for school children after school. Our vision is great, and we just ask that you join us on this on this vision, and that you allot us the monies that we need to complete the building at Washington Street. It's a sense of urgency, and we know that it'd be more cost-effective to do it now than to try to go back in and do it later. I thank you for your attention. I certainly hope that you'll take this request under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any questions?
Commissioners, I seek a motion, please. Yeah, you can make a motion, then we can get on.
I'd just like to make, I guess, a quick comment.
Sure.
First of all, I want you to know this, Washington is in District 4.
Yes.
And second of all, you know, I can remember back when Forrest saw you singing, and when I first came on the Board of Commissioners a few years back, and we were walking through the building, and it was just like, it needed a whole lot of work. And we were given the test of trying to find the money to get it renovated where it is now, which wasn't that good. But make a long story short, we were the Board of Commissioners, Hubert White, Danny Stone, Leon Long, Tommy Ballard, and we managed to get splash money to get it up and get it running. And then I was more amazed by the people who was on the board. That was Dr. Baker, the dentist, and then Miss B came on, Miss Adams, and it was just a whole lot of people. For so many years I had looked up to, because as an adolescent, I would run up the hill to Washington Street to go to school when the school was there. And I just never did forget about the good memories. And when I walked into the old library, you know, just like back in the day, and I remember sitting there as a child. But like you said, all things get old and get old. And I think when we originally gave the splash, it was supposed to be $500,000. And I think somehow, during the budgetary process, they took back $100,000 and they gave $400,000. And so I guess what I'm asking, so it's $40,000 we for additional $40,000. What's the amount of money?
So the original project was $495.
Okay. Okay.
And they're asking for an additional $400.
Okay.
Guys, let's get a motion on the floor before
Well,
we start
this
discussion.
is exactly what I'm doing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, if you can make that motion, then we can go into discussion.
Well, yeah, I think during the process of motion, you can kind of talk to them. You don't have to just rush it. You can talk a little bit. I think do we need legal advice? With that having said, and being a little rushed about, the good times I had at Washington Street, I'd like to make a motion that we give additional $50,000 for Washington Street.
$400.
I'd like to make a motion to give $450,000 to help with the renovation of Washington Street.
Can you state the motion to be,
No, it's excess fund.
can you state the motion to be 400,000, Commissioner? Thank you, sir.
I have a question for Brittany since I said that. How much excess cash do we have ever collected for Splash?
Right now, this will be the first month of excess collection. But, so technically, right now, we don't have, but we estimate about $21 million.
Okay, so I don't think there was too much to ask, especially now it wasn't coming out. Motion is to be a 400,000?
Yeah. Come back and ask for more.
Okay.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Henderson and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any more discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, Ms. B, within about 30 seconds of you talking, I'm ready to run through a brick wall. So, when you talk, it's so efficient. You probably need to be sitting right here. So,
Thank you.
I have no doubt that this money will be used to further the good things and the good works I hear from Washington Street Community Center.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you so much for coming before us and asking. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Brittany, you. Thank you. Thank you, Brittany. Item number 13.
Item number 13 is regarding a task order for Ascension, which is Jeff Prine, in regards to expanding the courtrooms over there in the probate court. And the funding from this would come from capital improvements, where we had set aside some money for the judicial courtroom expansions for audio and things like that. So if you have any technical questions, Jeff would be the better one to answer those.
Let's get a motion on the floor, Jeff, and please stay right here, because I'm sure we got a question. Can I get a motion, please? Commissioner Cowell, can I get a second?
I make a motion to approve the task order C11 for Ascension Program Management Services in the amount of $38,750.
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowell, second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion?
Just a quick question, just a
Commissioner-
quick statement.
Commissioner Cowell.
I do know that the probate court is out of room. They are packed. I'm over there a good bit, and there's just not enough room in there. I guess in the last renovation, that got missed, some of that renovation. So anything that we can do to help them out, we'll sure be grateful.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Ms. Brittany.
Item number 14 is also a task order for Ascension, and this will be for Jeff to manage the SPLOST 2023 referendum. So he would help build the SPLOST list and help with estimates, because we know historically, I think the SPLOST have always been underestimated. So having Jeff in here, we could really have somebody who knows how to give us good estimates, and we can make sure we get enough money in our SPLOST projects in the SPLOST 2023 so we don't run into issues like we're having with Washington Street. So if you have any additional questions, myself or Jeff will be happy to answer.
Okay. Can I get a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve task order C12, Ascension Program Management Proposal for SPLOST 23 referendum.
Can I get a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Cowell and second by Commissioner Edwards. Discussion. Any discussion? All in favor? It passed 5-0. Thank you. And item number 15, board consideration, discussion and consideration of resolution R020122, authorize agreement with Salvation Army for management and distribution of ARPA homeowner rental assistance. Mr. Jotstetter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, ladies and gentlemen of the board, you will recall the last ARPA presentation we provided to you. We discussed in great detail the renters and homeowners assistance funds, which was set at $400,000, and utilities assistance, which was set at $300,000. Since that meeting, we have had a extensive telephone conference with the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army, as you probably know, administers similar funds or funds from other sources for both renters and homeowners assistance and utilities assistance for residents in need. And this resolution would authorize an agreement with the Salvation Army for them to administer those funds on your behalf. The agreement calls for the distribution of the $700,000 to them over the course of 1 year. The proposal, my proposal to you, is that we distribute it quarterly We don't give them the whole 700,000 up front. We give them 1/4 of that money each quarter for them to exhaust. They will administer the funds in accordance with the Department of Treasury's Housing Assistance Funds guidelines. The federal government has set forth guidelines for paying housing assistance funds, which is one of the ARPA expenditures. The qualification or the qualifying standards for that is based on your median income, and it essentially requires that recipients have 150% or less of the median household income for your community, and that ensures that the funds don't go to people making a ton of money. It goes to the people that are most in need. We are going to require that the Salvation Army provide the reporting that we need to report to the Department of Treasury, so they'll do that reporting to us. We will require that they provide you a quarterly update of applications made, applications granted, and applications denied. And that will be so that you can monitor to see if there's any reason for us to seek to expand those qualifications or tighten those qualifications. So that's the short version of it. The one question I do not have an answer for you tonight is exactly how much it will cost through the Salvation Army to administer those funds. And I need to have that conversation with them again. They've indicated that they want to, apologize for that, they've indicated that it's their intention to add an additional staff person who will be dedicated to this project, and we want to make sure that we tie the administration cost to what that actual cost will be. So I'll be having that follow-up conversation. You may also remember that we have allocated, or we've recommended an allocation of $350,000 for program management. I'm not suggesting that this management will cost anywhere near that. It should be a relatively small percentage of that. I will report that back to the board and probably have the board vote to approve that final cost estimate. So that's the resolution 49. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
So, one quick question before we move forward. So, they're gonna have to come back before the board to vote on the amount?
To vote on the program management fee.
Okay.
Just that bit.
So can they can't proceed forward without having that contract?
They're not going to want to. They're not, I mean, we can certainly have them get started, because it's going to take them a little while to lay their infrastructure in. So we present them with the contract, they give us that number. We can ask them to go ahead and begin to get ready. We're not ready to hand them the check. We're not going to be ready to hand them the check for a little while, because they've got to get their system up and running anyway. So my recommendation would be approve the agreement as stated with the understanding that we have to bring the final program management fee back to you for approval.
Thank you, sir. I seek a motion, please. I seek a motion. Commissioner Sanders.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Resolution R020122 to authorize the agreement with Salvation Army for management and distribution of ARPA homeowners rental and utility assistance funds. In the amount of $700,000 and subject to administrative fees.
Thank you. A second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. But the the question I want to ask is how long the estimate is going to take for those people to start receiving those funds?
I'm not sure, and I'm in a position to answer that right now. I will try to get an answer out to the board in the next day or two. I would expect, I'm probably going to, we have not yet drafted your finance director into this discussion to make sure that she and the Salvation Army discuss formatting for reporting, what computer service they use. And they're also going to want to, I'm quite certain the Salvation Army is going to want to make sure they're doing some appropriate outreach before they start. But I will get an answer to that in the next few days and send an email to all the board members.
Okay, and so the last follow-up question is that we're talking about the Salvation Army of Washington Street.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Item number 16, board consideration, discussion and consideration of resolution R020122A. Mr. Jostetter.
So one of the allowable uses of your ARPA funds is the expansion of your local broadband network. As the speaker who came up before, and I apologize, I did not write her name down, as she noted, the county has for a number of years had a lease agreement with Paladin Wireless. Paladin Wireless essentially leases from the county the frequencies over which the internet services are broadcast. So the 3 or 4 frequencies that were designated by the Federal Communications Commission to the county have been leased for 30 years to Paladin Wireless. The agreement with Paladin Wireless calls for them to pay to the county $7.50 per month per subscriber. The proposal before you is to utilize $500,000 of your ARPA funds, and that is the district designated ARPA funds, to put in the infrastructure necessary to expand that broadband service into, best way I can describe it is the southern and southeastern ends of the county, which are areas that have been designated by the state as underserved areas for broadband and internet service. So the agreement would require them to utilize these funds for that limited purpose and to put the network into operations. Now, one of the issues that was raised to me tonight that I just wasn't aware of is apparently the internet service is not being made available to people yet. Is that, there's no subscribers yet? That's not true, okay. Or it is true.
I mean, you can answer his question, yeah.
No, we have not put, there's no internet service on that spectrum at this moment, no.
Gotcha. So I think what we may want to do is I think it would make sense, since we're using ARPA funds, to require that service go into effect within some timeline. And I don't know what the reasonable timeline for that is, because I've not had that discussion with Paladin. But I think what I'll ask is that you do just like we did, perhaps approve a resolution authorizing us to proceed, but I will bring back to you before a final agreement is signed a timeline for when that service will be made available to the public. Because I don't want you entering to an agreement, making funds available, and not having any corresponding promise of when that service will be flipped on for people to start using it. The way we're going to handle the distribution of these funds, I'm not going to recommend that we hand over $500,000 up front. I'm going to recommend that we do it almost like task orders or work orders. As that work progresses, we distribute funds to them. So my recommendation would be to authorize us to proceed on that basis, again with the understanding that I will bring back to you a timeline for when that service needs to be switched on.
That has to be approved by the board.
That will have to be approved by the board, yes.
I seek a motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that this board approve resolution R020122A, resolution approving Paladin Wireless proposal for use of ARPA funds to build fixed wireless internet network in Newton County.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Sanders. Any discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. The question that I had, and maybe I probably heard it and didn't hear it, but mine probably somewhere else. So the $500,000 is coming from the 10 million, or is it coming from the district allotment?
My understanding, and Commissioner, you tell me if I'm wrong, that you offer that to come out of your designated district allocation. So, but you did still allocate, the board still allocated, I'm going to make sure I get the amount right, a total of $1 million otherwise to increase broadband in underserved areas throughout the county. So what I'm also going to do, I don't need you to vote on this yet, but just so you know, I'm going to ask Paladin to provide us with a more comprehensive, sort of a list, like a schedule of where they would anticipate going next. I mean, to me, this is almost like road improvements. You can only do so many at once. So let's have them make a proposal to us or a recommendation to us about where they would envision the next round or two of these. We're probably not gonna have enough to get the whole county, but we can certainly designate some areas. Bring those
Absolutely.
back to the board as those.
Absolutely. So, one last follow-up question, since, I wasn't a part of the committee. So how would I, or the ones who may want, these commissioners, who want to request other funds, for stuff in their districts, how would we make that proposal?
Maybe what we do is, we'll schedule our next committee meeting, and before then, I'll reach out to you and ask you what you want us to talk about, and we'll do it that way.
Okay.
I think that might be the cleanest way to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just so everyone's aware, this is Paladin has proposed a phased approach, and this is only the first phase. The second phase actually is going to reach, I think, some of number 5 district, and maybe some into 4, but phase 2 will go actually into District 2. The eventual plan is for, after this seed money, that Paladin becomes self-sufficient in terms of expansion in Newton County. I don't believe we've got, as far as Paladin goes, that the whole amount that we have designated for broadband expansion in Newton County of the ARPA funds will be needed by Paladin. But I want to make sure everyone understood that the phased approach takes this service into the whole county. It's just the first phase is to the unserved, the people of the county, the citizens of the county that don't have internet now, or vastly underserved. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All in favor? Pass 5-0. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is alcohol license. Final reading, Walmart store number 45584200 Salem Road, Covington, Georgia 316. Applicant Chantel White, District 2. Final reading.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I make the motion, do we know if there were any violations at all?
Judy said there wasn't.
Okay, there was no violations?
She said there wasn't.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the final reading for Walmart store number 4558, 4200 Salem Road, Covington, Georgia 30016, for Ms. Chantel White in District 2.
Can I get a second, please? Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes 5-0. Next is the first reading, Gas Express LLC, 5485, Highway 81, Covington, Georgia 30016. Applicant Shams Naja, District 1, first reading. Next is item number 19, citizens' comments. This opportunity where we'll let citizens come up and make comments. You have 3 minutes to do so. Please state your name, your address for the record, please. Citizens' comments.
Hello again. Good evening. Susan Jackson, 110 Wisteria Boulevard. Thank you so much regarding that Paladin. I think it's very necessary that our underserved communities have access to internet service. Our children need it. However, my comments are regarding Judy's presentation, Ms. Johnson's presentation regarding the overlays. I took a look at our 2018 comprehensive plan. I really would suggest the board take a look at that. It needs to be revamped and amended. Of course, we're in a precarious situation. We do not have a county manager at the time who could do that. However, what I've noted, this is what, I just want to read to you the description that's in our county comprehensive plan for Salem, where I am. It says it's a loose connection of disconnected residential subdivisions developed in 1970. okay? So it describes the schools and everything there. Now, the implementation strategies for this area, this is what you proposed in 2018, to integrate the 3 school complexes in the area surrounding the residential neighborhoods, to encourage pedestrian access to the sites and co-locations of public facilities, to promote new development that emulate the positive aspects of the community, and promote moderate density traditional development style subdivisions. That right there, put a note in it. Also, new development should be mastered plan with mixed uses blending residential development, schools, parks, recreations, retail businesses, and so on. What I realized when I looked at this comprehensive plan, as I looked at the other regions, as they described Covington, what did they want to do? They wanted to preserve the historic aspect of Covington. The reason why I moved to Covington, it reminded me of my small town I grew up in, with beautiful trees, with big, large oak trees line the sidewalks with Victorian houses and so on. Wraparound porches. You know what you see on Clark Street, that type of aesthetic. That's what attracted me. Does my home look like that? No, but just to come in the city and get that aspect makes me feel, I love this county. I love that historic look. So I want to say to the county, as you review what Judy was mentioning, okay, I think we need public hearings because what we want is smart growth. And in the smart growth plan, there's something called complete streets. In the comprehensive plan, you have it here. It says it. You want to do complete streets. We need to implement that. And also, in order to have a wealthy and a prosperous county, the tax base is what's important. The number one, the richest county is Forsyth County. I'm sure we may have some people here who live in Forsyth County. The richest county in the Georgia. You know why? They have a high tax base. We want to attract in our overlays an aesthetic that matches our historic Covington. So you understand what I'm saying? I want to stop the building of the traditional development and get the aesthetic of the historic. What that will do is attract a higher tax base household that's attracted to that aesthetic. You understand? So when you have a higher tax base, then we have higher revenue. That's and then I'll be sending y'all some further emails. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Barbara Morgan, 2158 East Street, Covington, Georgia. The announcement of the Rivian electronic vehicle plant landed here a few weeks ago. It is breathtaking in both its opportunity and its challenge. And I would like to see and I would like to know how this county is going to respond.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Denise Williams, 165 Long Creek Drive. I want to come up and make a comment to Commissioner Henderson. The last couple of meetings, I noticed that you had been saying that you was concerned about how much the county attorney was being paid to sit in on the interview process and different things. But I just want to let you know that I have spoken with commissioners around the surrounding counties of Newton County, and this is what I'm bringing back to you so you can take it for an educational piece. They do not let the county attorney sit in their meetings during the interview process. What they do is they have HR and they have the commissioners sit in on the interview process. They also stated that they have a membership with ACCG. So with that being said, if they have a membership with ACCG, they can pull a member from ACCG in to sit in on the meetings, and that would eliminate paying the attorney cost. Okay? And my second thing I would like to say is that when I came up and spoke to Commissioner Mason, it was not to attack you. It was just saying that we need representation in District 2. So if you took that as an attack, that's not what I came up here to do. I was just saying that we did not have any representation that day at that special call meeting. So I wanted to put that on record and be clear about that. Because when I came over to the annex building, when I stepped out the elevator along with several other citizens, we heard you say that you didn't want to be a part of the drama. So it's not what anybody said or heard, it's what we heard from you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just like to say to the other commissioners, thank you for the support on the wireless stuff. I think our entire county is going to benefit from that. So I just want to say thank you for that, and hope everyone has a good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Mason. Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind doing this with me, my Madam President of the Covington Area Alumni Chapter is here. You assisted me with getting the proclamation, and we had to go virtual because we had so many attendees for the event, and we didn't want to be super spreaders. So I did present the proclamation, but they never got a picture with both of us. Do you mind doing that during my time? Our Madam President of the chapter is here.
No, can we do it after?
Yes.
We can definitely do it.
Okay.
All right.
And that was all I had. Okay. Madam Iris is here.
Okay, all right. Thank you, thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to just say a couple of words, not going to be long. I've been on this board for a long time. In fact, it's been over 25 years. And during the course of the time that I've been on the Board of Commissioners, I've been called a power monger. I got pictures at home. I'm making a book, y'all, at home, when they said that I was power mongering, me and two other commissioners. And found out I was right. It's been said that I was a liar and I was a thief. For 4.5 years, I was investigated by the district attorney's office, the GBIs and the FBIs, and for 4.5 years. And what I was investigated for, when I finally got the record, was for some toilet paper they said I stole, and they said I had some nutritious food from the community center. And that was, and I spent more money on toilet paper than anybody, because they wouldn't give me the money to buy it with over there for the kids. And so, but that's all right. But at some point, I think we just gotta man up and just do what's right and say what's right. And you know, I'm a praying man like anybody else, and I'm praying, and I ask you to pray with me for God's guidance for this commission.
Thank you. Commissioner Cowan. Thank you, sir. Guys, we do have an executive session tonight. We will not be taking a vote afterwards. We will not be taking a vote afterwards. We do have executive sessions tonight. Yeah, personnel.
Okay.
Sorry, personnel. I seek a motion that we move into executive session. It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. All in favor? We stand in executive session.